Luke chapter 2 verses 1 to 4. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria, and all went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth, to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David. Luke chapter 2 verses 1 to 4.
The birth of Jesus, Luke chapter 2 verses 1 to 4. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken on the entire Roman world. And everyone went to their own town to register. So Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. Last Monday, we had the culminating program in school for the Values Education celebration, and I invited our deaconess for a sermonette, or shall I say a short storytelling. Without any further instructions to her, she narrated the Christmas story with our story text tonight. Have you ever been in a situation where you were going to have people come stay at your home for a while? Maybe you knew it was coming, or maybe it was a surprise visit. Most of us are not ready for such guests. We are busy, we work, or we have things to keep us occupied. So we stress about having the time to get things in order to have said company. Unless you have a big house, making room for guests takes some work and some planning. The speed of life gets in the way. It was time for enrollment for the census. The Romans called a census for two reasons. First, for taxation, and second, for compulsive military service. What happened was a census for tax purposes. So everyone went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and a family line of David, to be registered along with Mary, who was engaged to him and was pregnant. I find it interesting that Luke clearly points out that there was no room for them. It doesn't go into the details as to why, just what there was no room. And I think the reason this part of the story was there was because God wanted it there. I think God was making a statement. This was the situation before the birth of Jesus. The world that Jesus was born into was a very religious world. The Jewish people were longing for the day that their Messiah would appear and help them break the bonds of the Roman rule. From the beginning, people have struggled to make room for Jesus because of the fact that all the Jews had to return to their place of birth. The cities were filled. No rooms in the inn. All places were filled. When the long-awaited Messiah came, there was no room for him. To make things even worse, there was not room for Jesus in his own family. Today, people still struggle to make room for Jesus. I think God was making a statement that this was what Jesus was born to be. Kings weren't born in mangers. Emperors would have numerous attendants on hand to care of the mother and the child, and there will be no barn there, no wet sheep. So what God could have possibly intended to say by having Jesus born in a barn? Grace Noel Crowell, a poet, put it this way: I am so glad that he was not born in some rich place. I am so glad to know it was a lowly place instead, a place where soft-eyed cows and sheep were sheltered and were fed. For to the country born of earth a stable will ever be a wholesome place where night comes down with its tranquility, a place of heart's ease and content for all who choose to see. And so, I like to think of him first opening his eyes in that good elemental place beneath the friendly skies, that the men of fields could find him there, as well as the great and wise. The point, a king born in a palace would not be easily approached or seen by anyone, but a child in a barn, will anybody can go in there to see this child. Jesus was approachable, and that became the hallmark of Jesus' ministry, and it's supposed to be the hallmark of our church. There was a Christmas program at the church one time, and a 7-year-old boy was chosen to be the innkeeper. When Joseph and Mary approached looking for the shelter, his line was to simply say, "I'm sorry, but we have no room." But being a good 7-year-old boy, that didn't seem quite right. He looked at Mary and Joseph and said, "I don't have room for you in the hotel, but I would love to have you come in for milk and chocolates, or a milk and cookies." That little boy had a part to play. He knew what line was supposed to be, but he didn't like the idea of sending Jesus away, so he offered what he could. I really believe most of us want to make room for Jesus in our lives. I think we get sidetracked and get off course. One of the reasons is that making room for Jesus is not easy to do it. It requires us to get rid of some things in our lives, and that is not easy to do. Making room for Jesus obliges us to examine the priorities in life. Today, I want to encourage all of us to start for the first time, or for some of us, hit the reset button with our faith and commitment to Jesus. Making room for Jesus obliges us to examine the priorities in life. Today is the day to start making room for Jesus. Prepare our hearts to be Jesus' dwelling place. And for our prayer, Father, as I read about the Christmas story and the marvelous unfolding of events prophesied hundreds of years before that, I stand astounded by your power. You are the Alpha and the Omega. Nothing and nobody can thwart your plans. Lord, help us be confident in your power. Amen.
Dalangin po tayo. Sa pangalawang gabing ito ng aming patuloy na pagsusumikap na sariwain ang pinakadakilang kwento ng iyong anak na si Jesus. Aming Ama, kami po ay nagpapasalamat. Amin pong dinadakila ang iyong pangalan. At bilang mananampalataya, kami po ay patuloy na nagbibigay sa iyo, O Diyos, ng taus-pusong pasasalamat sa napakaraming biyaya na iyong ibinigay sa amin, Panginoon. Napakayaman ng iyong mga salita. At sa tuwing darating ang ganitong mga panahon, Panginoon, hindi po namin maiwasan na magpasalamat sa iyo sa pamamagitan ng aming pagdadala ng aming mga taus-pusong pagpapahayag ng aming pagsamba sa iyo, Panginoon. Nagpapasalamat po kami, Panginoon, sapagkat hindi niyo ipinagkait ang iyong anak na si Jesucristo na dahil sa inyong pag-ibig, dakilang pag-ibig, ay iyong ibinigay ang iyong bugtong na anak na si Jesus upang sa ganon maranasan namin ang kaligtasan. Nagpapasalamat po kami, Panginoon, sa pinakadakilang kwentong ito na siyang naging dahilan ng aming kaligtasan, na siyang nagbago ng aming buhay, na siyang nagbago at patuloy na nagbabago ng aming mga pananaw sa buhay, O Diyos. Nagpapasalamat po kami, Panginoon, sapagkat hindi niyo kami pinabayaan na malugmok sa kasamaan, na mapunta sa kapahamakan. At laking pasasalamat po namin, O Diyos, dahil sa dakilang pag-ibig niya na iyong ibinigay para sa amin. Sa pangalawang gabing ito, Panginoon, ng aming simbang gabi, patuloy naming ilalagak ang aming pagtitiwala sa iyo. Patuloy ho naming hinahayaan na ang iyong banal na Espiritu ay kumilos sa amin, magbigay sa amin ng kaaliwan, at patuloy na ipaalam, ipaliwanag, Panginoon, ang dakilang kwento ng iyong pagmamahal, at iyon ay nagsimula sa kapanganakan ng iyong anak na si Jesus. Nagpapasalamat po kami, Panginoon. At pinagpala po kami sa pangalawang gabi ng aming patuloy na pagsamba sa iyo. Naway iyong ipanariwa sa amin, Panginoon, sa pamamagitan ng iyong banal na Espiritu. Manariwa sa amin ang mga katotohanan ng iyong salita upang sa ganon magpatuloy din kami sa aming paglilingkod at maipagdiwang po namin ang Kapaskuhang ito ng may katotohanan, ng may katapatan, at nasa sa amin ang taus-pusong pasasalamat sa iyo, Panginoon. Lord, naalala po namin ang mga kababayan po namin din na nasa hirap na kalalagayan. Na bagamat kami po ngayon ay nagdiriwang at magdiriwang ng Kapaskuhang ito, Panginoon, may iba pa kaming mga kababayan na nalugmok sa kahirapan, Panginoon. Amin silang pinapanalangin at aming hinihiling na ang mensahe ng Kapaskuhang ito, mensahe ng kaligtasan, mensahe ng pag-ibig, ay maranasan din nila katulad namin, Panginoon. At salamat po, Panginoon, sapagkat patuloy niyong itinutuwid ang aming mga buhay. Patuloy po ninyong ginagamit ang iyong mga salita upang sa ganon ay maitama ang aming mga pananaw, ang aming mga pananampalataya, at patuloy na maisentro namin ng aming pagdiriwang sa Kapaskuhang ito, Panginoon, sa tunay na misyon ng iyong anak na si Jesus. Kaya ako nagpapasalamat po kami ngayong gabi. Salamat po sa pangalan ng iyong anak na si Jesus po ang aming panalangin. Amen. Ngayon, mga kapatid, tanggapin ninyo ang masaganang biyaya ng ating Panginoong Jesucristo, ang dakilang pag-ibig ng ating Diyos, at ang pakikisama, pang-aaliw, pakikisalamuha ng banal na Espiritu ngayon, at magpakailanman. Amen.